What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Invest Iowa. Today, I have Ace with me, and we're going to talk about a little bit of everything marketing agencies. We're going to talk about businesses in general. I just think that you're a very overall successful person, not only on social media terms, but also like in businesses in general. For all the research that I've done, I want to pick your brain. I want to get to know like how you're doing, what you're doing, and what you actually, the way that you think about uh, uh, engineering systems that take social media and businesses and combine them together, because the things that we were talking about before, just for your average business owner, are not going to make sense unless they talk to somebody like you. So excited to
Sure.
have you on the podcast, man. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course, man. Thanks for being on. I'm excited,
I
dude.
appreciate it, dude. Let's get started with the beginning, in the introduction of you into businesses. How did you get started in the businesses?
Yeah, so the short story, I mean, I've always been into the work for myself, type of deal. I've never been able to keep a job very long. I guess the age-old story, right? And the jobs that I did fit in, I was a tow truck driver for a little while, where basically I rent the truck, I get 40% of everything that I tow. So did that for a long time. And then after that, I actually, in my mid 20s, I went to the Army, came back. In my mid 20s, I actually got into a multi-level marketing company, believe it or not, direct sales, so which a lot of people talk a lot of smack about. It's a pyramid scheme, whatever. That actually wasn't my experience. I actually did really well. I killed it. I was top 1% in the country in the first 3 months. I was making six figures. I was doing really well. I actually built a team of a couple of hundred people nationwide, traveled the world, spoke to people all over the place, and really took what I learned there as far as team building, entrepreneurship, reading a lot of personal development books. And that made me stumble into actually what I was just telling you about earlier, was into, sometimes a chapter opens and then sometimes you're just ready to close that chapter. And I kind of feel like I saw it through. I'm like, I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to go any further doing this. And I was trying to figure out what my next move was. I know you're talking about wholesaling. I actually took a Ty Lopez wholesale course first, which is funny that you brought it up, because I was going to start getting into wholesale. And I lived in New York at the time. And it was really difficult back in 2000, I think, feel like 15, 16. I feel like there was no information out at that time. Nobody was talking about it, at least on social. And it was hard for me to like figure out what the hell I was doing. I'd go in, I'd mess up deal after deal and stuff. And but then I took a Ty Lopez marketing course, his digital agency course, which was very popular. Most people know it. And that was kind of like, all right, this is it. This is what I'm doing. So I've always been into sales my whole life as well, and started knocking door to door, started getting a bunch of clients back in 2018. And then between 2018 to 2021, I built my agency from myself and my wife to 100 plus employees. And we went nationwide during COVID. It was a curse to many, a blessing in disguise to me, because now everybody went from never being on Zoom to I could sell clients on Zoom, right? And we went nationwide and blew up. And it's cool. I mean, I just got the company evaluated recently, which is a pretty sizable 8-figure company now. And that allowed me to spawn off to get into real estate, which I know you do quite a bit of. And that allowed me to spawn off and then buy a couple of boutique hotels in North Carolina that I moved down into, which I basically took some inns, renovated them, turned them into hotels, added some restaurants and a few, and built those out. And then from learning about the hospitality business, I actually just started what's going to become a burger chain. I already bought one, and we're looking at 3 other locations now that I'm learning quite about that business. We're going to go private, though. We're not going to franchise or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And build out a bunch of locations really fast, because I think it's low cost to start up. The square footage is really small, and I'm buying the real estate on each one of them, and can kind of really just replicate the Chick-fil-A model, but just with burgers instead, and keep the menu really small, keep the menu really tight, do one thing and do it really well. Chick-fil-A is not selling tacos for a reason, right? And bring something to the market that I feel that the South is missing. And we're going to build out 10 locations in North Carolina, and then we're gonna move further down south to South Carolina, and then to Atlanta, and then down to Florida. And one thing I'm learning about right now is a lot about just multiples, mergers and acquisitions. And I anything I'm doing right now, just because of my education from where I started to where I am today, is you need to build to sell, whether you're going to sell or not. So I built my agency just not knowing what the hell I was doing. I know we were talking about this earlier. I didn't know what I was doing. And after that Ty Lopez course, we kind of hit a ceiling at like $30,000 a month the first year. And we're like, why can't we break the ceiling? And I'm a course guy. You know, I dropped out of school in 10th grade. I didn't go to college. You know, I saw Billie Jean having a course in San Francisco, and basically I flew out there, and he had an all-day course on how to scale your agency. And it was really cool. You went there and you met every single one of his top employees, his senior team, and they walked you through how they run their day-to-day. You saw their vision board, you saw their goals. They went through sales scripts. They literally went through everything. So he said, here, take all my stuff. So I literally, as I took all his stuff, his mission values and all that stuff now became my mission and values. You know, we had it on our board in our office, and we went all in. You know, we literally went all in when we got back. And, you know, that's what I started hiring crazy. All the $30,000 a month we were making, we weren't keeping any of it. I still had a full-time job, and we were putting all that money now into hiring employees. And we weren't making a dime for that first year. And I think a lot of times people make a little money, they quit their job, and now they're living. And not that that's the wrong thing to do either. You might be cool with that. My job was always to scale and go as big as possible. I actually got a bunch of credit cards. I liquidated all the credit cards so I can get working capital. Started to learn a little bit about business credit for people that know about business credit. And liquidated all the credit cards, you know, got some credit lines, business credit lines, and started, you know, basically using all my resources to scale and hire as quickly as I could. And I just cared about making enough to make payroll for the first 6 months. And then we got to a point where we were making 100,000, you know, a month. And then we scaled from there to 200, 300,000 a month. And then we were able to just keep growing from there. So the idea for me was never just to make a lot of money. It was to become one of the biggest badass digital agencies in Long Island. And we became the biggest agency in Long Island, probably 36 months in Long Island, New York. And then now I live in Wilmington. We still have an office in New York. We have one in Wilmington. We have one in Florida now as well. And I'm still scaling the agency. And we were getting lucky enough to have a podcast like this. I had a podcast going during COVID that I don't run anymore. It's a shame, which I got to get back into it. But I met with one of Gary Vee's right-hand mans, and that actually connected me to meet with Gary Vee and do something called their mentorship program, where basically you work with Gary Vee and his senior team for 36 months. And they take you on his way. You got a bat phone to them, and they basically go over everything about scaling, making revenue, dollars, cents, cost analysis. You work directly with the CFO, and that definitely has schooled me and taught me a lot. So, and not that wasn't free; that cost money too. It wasn't like it was something nice he was just doing, you know. But I'm so big into putting, you know, one of my mentors told me this a long time ago. It was like, you need to be putting at least minimum 10% of whatever you make per year into yourself, into education. And I put a lot more than that now. So that amount that I paid him wasn't nearly, it was worth every dime. You know, it was a multiple 6-figure amount I paid, and literally made it back the same year, right? Just because of the relationship. So a lot of times what you think you're spending is a lot, no, but what you're losing is 100 times more by not putting in that money. So a lot of people are just so cheap with their education, and it's just a cop out. It really is. So even till today, it doesn't matter what level you're at. I don't know anything still today. You know, you got to look at like you know nothing compared to the people you look up to. So why wouldn't you want to pay to get in those rooms with those type of people? So now when I look at the people that are in similar spaces, all the people you see on YouTube today and social today, you know, if you're in real estate, you should be going to one of Ryan Pineda's courses. You should be probably going to one of Grant Cardone's type of courses, you know what I'm saying? And going there to suck up all the information, because nobody's perfect. Don't get caught up in, you know, their persona and all that stuff. They're further along, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So you're going there for the information. You gotta also think about the shopping cart method. You know, leave on the shelf what you don't need, take off what you do, and keep it moving. You know, so still to this day, I'm still buying. I'm about to buy somebody's course right now. I'm about to buy also Cody Sanchez. I'm about to buy. She has an email course she built out, and I'm building out a newsletter. So I'm buying her course literally as soon as I'm done with this podcast, and I'm sitting. That's my night. Is that I'm sitting there for the rest of the night and doing her course, because I want to build out a newsletter from somebody who's done it. And you know, from one of her videos, she says she's making about $1 million a month with her newsletter. $1 million a month from a newsletter. So you know, there's a lot of ways to make money. You got to take the time out to do it. It's not going to happen overnight. It might take me a couple of years to build that out, but let me start building that out. And I'm trying to figure out how can I deliver the most amount of value in exchange for someone's email, right? Where I'm just not like, give me my email. I want to earn it. So yeah, you know, so I know I'm kind of rambling on here and there, but that's kind of my journey. Right now I'm getting big into similar to what Cody Sanchez is teaching, which is really cool. Is I'm learning how to buy businesses, buy some boring businesses that are out there. And, you know, if you watch any of my content, I talk a lot about it. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm learning. A lot of Alex Hormozi's out there, mergers, acquisitions. I mean, I was cool. I was watching, somebody said this, not me, but he's like, almost every millionaire was made in real estate, but every billionaire was made in mergers and acquisitions, right? So it's like, if you want to play the big game, you become a millionaire in real estate, and then once you built a business that's cash flowing, you hire operators to run them, so that way you can buy and sell more businesses. That's how you make the real money, right? So there's levels to the game. Then you need to get around people that are already playing the game, right? So all I am is nobody special, just someone who's learning from people that have already done it. And if I can give some people some value along the way, and do what they've done for me, awesome. That's all you can do. So that's the stage where I'm at in my life. And right now I'm in the cool, how much value can I give to people? Because I always have people asking me so many questions, and how can I bundle that up and give it away in the best suitable way that delivers them the most value. So that's my story.
Wow, that is amazing, dude. I was gonna probably point this out to you. I would like to know a little more about the marketing agency and the multi-level marketing, because
Yeah.
you did really successful. Most cases, that's not the case.
Yeah. So I'll give you. So I joined. Most people, I think most people who get in a business, right, in a multi-level business, is probably people who are getting in business who had no. They should never have never gotten a business in the first place. You got to think about it. To be a business owner, you got to be a certain type of person. You're taking risk, right? You're putting in more work. In fact, I love like the memes people are like, this is great. I got in business for myself, and I used to work a job and make work 8 hours a day. Now I'm working 16. I used to make 60K a year. Now I'm making $10 an hour, because they don't realize what it takes, especially in the beginning, right? The same way I was just saying, I wasn't making any money for my business. I was putting it back in my business. So it's not as glamorous as most people think. Yeah, maybe that's the end game, but most people aren't willing to put in the first 2 or 3 or 4 years to get there and do all the sacrificing. They just want to hurry up and get to the Lamborghini part, right?
Yeah.
And it's just being smart with where you are, which, by the way, even where I am right now, I've never owned a sports car or anything fancy. And even the house that I live in right now is a small house, so I'm playing the 10, 20, 30-year game with everything that I'm doing. And I even moved to North Carolina to save money, so I can take any bit of extra money I have and put it into, bigger real estate, bigger commercial real estate, just stuff that's going to set me up, so really thinking the long game with all that. But as far as the multi-level marketing thing, man, I got started. I was looking for something. If you find somebody who's the right person and they're looking, it's a win. No one needed to sell me. I was looking, right? So someone had approached me with the opportunity. It was actually my wife, believe it or not, had approached me with, I was dating her at the time. And she was like, yeah, she told me about this thing. She didn't give me any details, right? Very elusive most of the time. They don't want to give you the name because you're going to Google search and start reading pyramid scam stuff, and you're going to be deterred. So she brought me to a meeting, right? This probably sounds very familiar for most people. You went to a meeting, there's a big meeting, and everybody's excited and fired up, when you go to the meeting. And it was actually an Amway meeting. So she brought me to an Amway meeting. And this was back in 2010, probably. And for anybody that knows Amway, it's been around forever.
I was part of Amway.
Yeah, so you may know, been around forever. It's basically the company that made multi-level marketing legal, because at first it was illegal, and they basically worked with the FDA and they made everything legal. So all in all, that's it. I went there, I was fired up, I got it. The team I was with, because based on what you learn and what you do is based on the culture of the team. Some teams are all sales, which is cool what they do. Some teams are more recruiting and building organizations. This team was more about it was really cool because this team was really about education and delivering value to people, not just selling products. So they were like, hey, you got to become a better person. You got to be able to read these books so you can learn how to get better with your finances. You got to get your credit in order. So it was kind of like a personal development package rolled up with the opportunity through Amway. Was kind of how it was presented to me. And I saw a lot of value in that. I never heard of Amway. I was negative about it. And I was always kind of a loner, so I never really gave a shit what anybody said anyway. So even a lot of my friends were negative about it. It was like instantly what happened was, as soon as I got in that business and I started focusing 100% on that, everybody that I used to hang out with, immediately I stopped hanging out with right away. And it wasn't because it was like I can't be your friend anymore. It was just kind of like, this is what I'm doing right now, and this is where I'm at. And if you want to see me, this is where I'm at. Just like anybody else who doubles down on the stuff they want to do. It's like, if you want to become a business owner, that's going to be what happens. You're going to start to evolve into this new person, And all the old people who wish you were the old person, they don't evolve with you. And that's why some family, friends, people are just supposed to just be there for a season. And when you move to this new season in your life, it's okay for them not to be there anymore. Right? No, it doesn't mean you don't love them or you can't give them a call or go grab a drink with them one day. But, there's a level of sacrifice if you want to win in anything. So all in all, for the first 2 years, that's all I did. I was working, doing that. I had a full-time job. I was doing that 7 days a week. Every day I got to work. And from 5 p.m. to probably midnight, I was doing that. My weekends, I was meeting with people, building my team. And I basically hit a level called platinum the first 3 months I was in business, which is kind of like a big deal. If you
Insane, dude.
Yes,
That's insane.
I went platinum in 3 months. I went, I think, ruby in 15 months. I went sapphire and emeralds, I think, in the first 2 to 3 years, something like that. So I did it pretty fast, built a team of a couple hundred people. And, before I knew it, I was speaking on stage in front of thousands of people around the country. People were paying me to travel. So I had a really good time. It was awesome. I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it. I had a phenomenal time doing it. I made some good money while I was doing it. Most people can't say that.
Yep.
If you structure it right and you do it right, you can make money. But it's a grind. Most people aren't going to put in the grind. But I learned everything I needed to know about building teams and people and networking through that business, right? So now the culture in all my other businesses, me and my wife had transferred that over, where they're like, what I do in my digital marketing company? I go over finances. I go over how to build your credit. I go over how to buy your first home. I go over how to set up to get a loan. I go over all this stuff that I learned there. I now teach that in all my businesses. So my teams in my business have so much value because, nobody teaches this. Nobody's sitting down caring about their staff, being like, how are your finances, dude? Where's your credit score at? Here, talk to my credit guy, talk to this guy, talk to my, so it's cool because when people, if progress equals happiness in any area and you have someone working for you, if they're not progressing in their life, of course, they're not happy with their job because they're not happy with their life.
Yeah.
So you get them happy with their life. Now they're happy with their job. So we spend a lot of time, and it's really cool. I can say every single sales guy that works with me is all out of debt. Nobody owns a penny to anybody, and except for their mortgage. And almost all of them own their first home or their second, or one guy just bought his third investment property because of what we teach them. So I think that makes people loyal. I think loyalty is earned, right? And it's really cool because even though we moved down to North Carolina, a lot of guys that were in New York that were in our digital marketing team, probably about 20 of them, all moved down here just because me and my wife came down. We didn't ask anybody to move down. But people, if they're smart, they want to be around the heat. They want to be around what's going on. So that was my experience with the multi-level marketing stuff, man. I had got nothing bad to say about it. It's definitely not for everybody, obviously can things always be better? Could it be like, oh man, I did it for 10 years, so it's like, man, could I have started my entrepreneurial journey earlier if I didn't do that? But it's like, hey, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in life and I'm happy with all of it. Right. So I think most people, it's like, if you need to say, oh, I would have changed this in my life, it probably just means you're unhappy with the way you are maybe right now. Because it's like, I'm happy with that. I wouldn't be the man I was today if everything didn't happen exactly the way it was supposed to happen. So as long as you're using those experiences and getting better because of it, awesome. I wouldn't change anything. Right now, the market is shit, right? The market is not in a good spot for a lot of people. People aren't spending as much money. It's harder to get clients because they're holding on to their purses a little bit tighter, right? There's a lot of things that are changing. So if people are viewing this like, hey, this is my opportunity these next 12 months to become a better entrepreneur because of the changing market, and the people that make it through this and grow, those are going to be people who crush the next 5 years, right? If you can make it here, you're going to crush the next 5 years. So it's like, what am I doing to make myself different, right? Yeah. What am I doing to create other revenue streams? AKA what I'm doing with the email stuff and all these things that I didn't have time, right? Which is all bullshit anyway, because you make time for whatever's important. Like, what are you doing right now to build that out? So, but you have an advantage of what most people don't have, right? You get to jump on podcasts and listen to different people talk about different things, and it kind of gives you the opportunity to be like, oh wow, I learned something here. I can spend some more time doing this or that, right? So as you meet different people, or it opens up a door. It opens up a door for you that wasn't open before, right? So there's all types of cool shit when you're doing podcasts. And hey, cool statistic, and you may know this already, is that what is it? There's about 100. There's only 150,000 podcasts that went over 20 episodes, right? Most podcasts quit before they hit their 20th episode. About 95% of podcasts quit before they hit the 20th episode. So if you're over your 20th episode, you're already in the top 5% of podcasts in the world, which is a crazy way to look at it, right? Yeah, let's go, right? So it's like, if you're someone just consistently putting out content, you're bound to win. You're probably more likely to win the podcast game than you are on social media, even putting out content every day, because there's way more competition on social, it's just like anything else. You're consistent, you double down, you stay doing it, you'll win in the long game, as long as you're putting out the right value and you're evolving at the same time, right? So, but yeah, man, I mean, long ramble to go through, but yeah, man, great time in Amway. And then starting my digital agency, the biggest thing I'm learning now is it's hard. Biggest struggle for me right now, watching a lot of the Layla Morosi, right? If you know what Layla is, the internal workings of building a company is it's so complex based on the personality you are. She's an organized person, and she's like, no, that's not me. I'm an action guy. I'm not the Google Docs person keep track. I'm very go. So I need to have a good operator, otherwise I'm screwed, right?
Yeah,
I'm the sales and marketing guy, right?
me too.
So I need to have someone who's a good operator in all my businesses, otherwise it's not going to work out. So I think you identifying what type of entrepreneur you are and knowing how to do that, like, all right, I know I'm good at X, I know I suck at XYZ, and I need to hire the right people to back me up to be able to do that. And luckily for me, my wife fills in a lot of those cracks. She's a phenomenal operator. So the reason why I'm able to own several businesses and run them is because I have her as a partner, and we have good teams of people backing us up.
Amazing, dude. Talk to me about the agency. Like, how do you scale the agency? Just the main factors.
No, yeah, 100%. So the main thing is this: it comes down to lead sources, right? So one of the first things you want to identify is what are my total lead sources right now? Where's all my revenue coming in, and am I heavy in any one area, right? So one thing I always doubled down on lead source wise was, although inbound's important, I think people rely too much on inbound, and I built up a very large outbound sales team. So my guys are ground and pound even till today. They're on the phone. They're cold calling nonstop, right? Don't get me wrong, we have used platforms. They scrub the internet, all that stuff. But jumping on and call. Another thing is low barrier to entry, depending on what industry you're in, right? So it's, if you look at it like, all right, if I built an outbound cold calling team, who are the easiest people I can get a hold of if they're calling business owners, right? So 3 years ago, right when COVID hit, I sat down, I mapped out every local business in the area, and I started calling them all myself. And what I started to realize was every time I called a real estate agent or I called a loan officer, they picked up the phone like that. And the reason why is because they want to be out in front of people just as much as we are. So you can find a real estate agent or loan officer's cell phone on the freaking website. So now you're calling the decision maker, and there's no Nancy picking up the phone. There's no gatekeepers. So we crushed it in real estate for the last 36 months, right before the market went to shit, because we were able to literally book an appointment and meet with the decision maker, and within 2 calls we closed it. Boom.
What were you offering them?
So we're a 360 agency. So the biggest thing we would push them was content. We're a content agency, so there's a lot of ad agencies out there. And I think where a lot of people are missing it right now is nobody wants to do the hard work. And that's why you got to scale and build a team. Because if you're building an ad agency, you're going to be a little bit more solo, but then you're just like everybody else. And a lot of your costs is being ate up in ads. And most people aren't going to sign a 12, 18, or 24-month contract with you. So it's a lot of turn and burn. So with the content agency, they'll sign 12 months like this every single day because they know it's going to take time to build and establish. And now they're married to me, right? So, and now we're in it. We have their Google passwords. We have all their stuff. We're integrated with them, right? It's like when you get a CRM, it's just hard to get away with it because you're in too much of their data. So what we do is we come in. I have videographers all across the country. We used to do freelance. Now everybody's in-house. So we get all the content. We come back. We pass it to our editing team. And basically they do all the editing, and then they pass it to the marketing team, and then our account managers are then actually posting the content with the creating team. So we run through the chain events. Now they have people posting the content, helping them go viral. We're helping them doing their email blasts. We're doing a lot of the administrative stuff, which is like most people wouldn't do, but again, it locks us up. It locks us in even more, as crazy as that sounds. Because now it's just like, because part of the sales pitch is this. It's like, let's say you have an office right now. It's like, what do most people want to do? I'm going to hire Jane, our office administrator, and she's going to be our administrator, and she's also going to be our digital marketer and all this stuff. And it's bullshit. She's not a real, digital person. But now it's like, hey, listen, I'm not saying that you could fire Jane, but how much you paying Jane? $45K, right? So it's like, all right, what if we came in? We basically did everything Jane did, but also we're adding all this digital stuff and just going to pay us a little bit more, So it's like, well, okay, what are we talking about, right? So now they're cutting us a check for 75K or 80K or maybe even 45K, and we're working out the numbers that make sense for them. And what we also do is we're operating in a real-time chat Because one of the other things is they don't want to hire somebody that's not local to them, right? So it's like, well, you don't have to hire someone that's local. I'm going to put you in a real-time chat like Slack, right? Or some sort of real time where now you have instant access to us. Jane leaves at 5 o'clock. She's done for the day. You need something at 5 o'clock. You message us. You basically have 24/7 access to our team, right? So that's the cool part about being remote. They need something at 7 p.m. It's a restaurant. They need something the next day. It's a Saturday. They need a listing to go out. You can still message in the channel and we'll still have people get that out right away. And now they're like, wait, that's even better than hiring somebody that works in my office 9 to 5. Because now I got somebody I'm getting even more hours with. Plus they can see they can see the whole team in the chat. So they feel like they're getting a lot more bang for their buck because they see the creative design person, they see the ads person, they see the web person. So now they feel like they're getting a team, depending on what package they go with, 3, 5, 10 people in their chat. So for them, it's a no-brainer because they're like, wait, I'm paying $80K, which sounds like a lot of money, but now I'm getting 8 people. Just do the math on it. It's like, just do the math. It just makes sense. So that's where we come in and then we provide all that value. And I get it. We're not really, we're not working 24/7 for each client, of course, but we're getting everything done that they need to. They're doing chat calls and we're providing more value than obviously than they're paying us, which is the biggest thing, right? So then one thing I'm actually running right now, like Alex Ramosi talked about, design an offer so good they feel stupid saying no. So what we're doing right now is we're doing a 30-day, and anybody could do this, right? Well, and I'm doing a test ad for this month. We're doing 30 days. Let us come and shoot. I'll come and shoot the content. My videographer will go wherever the hell you are in the country. We'll shoot all the content. We'll edit all the content, and we'll post every single day for the first 30 days for free. If you don't see any growth or engagement, 10x in your social media platforms, you don't pay us. So it's like, so if you don't like 10x it, where anything that you've done with, then just don't pay us. Worst case scenario, you got 30 pieces of content for free. Say so. And when we shoot that day, we're going to get like 60, 70 pieces of content when we come out that day anyway. So we'll have enough content probably for like 2 months or 3 months, depending on how much content we're putting out for them. But it's a no-brainer. And I got people signing up for that like crazy right now, right? So, and it's because we already know what we're going to provide. So it's like, sign the 12-month contract, don't pay us. So you're going to get 13 months. You're going to get a month for free. And if at the end of the 30 days, yeah, just sit, don't pay us. Worst case, it's a win-win, for both people. They get a chance to work with us, a chance to see what it's like. They get to see the type of content we put out. We have to turn it around really quick because we only have 30 days. So we're getting someone out within a week. We're shooting it, we're editing it, and within probably 48 hours after we come and shoot, we have content going out already. So it happens that fast, and we're having a lot of people who are jumping on that right now. So we're just making it for a no-brainer. And again, that's just me trying to stay in tune with what's happening in the market and just seeing what works at the same time. Are we gonna have people that screw us over? Of course, but I always look at the 20-80 rule. Maybe 20% of the people say, hey, no, I'm good, thanks for the content, bro. But 80% stay with us, and how much more business will we have gained this year because of the 80% now that did the free commitment with us. So I think a lot of people right now in the market need to be thinking, what is nobody else doing that I can do that sounds so crazy, but I know I'll deliver on it. So I think this is the time where people should be focusing on, I'm going to build my name right now while everybody's pulling back. I'm going to double down and get in front of everybody because I'm going to do what nobody else is doing. And then once you figure out what that is, you do a test run with it. And if it's working, you triple down on it. So
for this contracts that you're generating, are you committing them to a year, but they pay you monthly, right?
Depends. So yeah, I try and stay away from monthly contracts because the most highest turnover of cancellation is monthly contracts. That's one of the first things I found out my first year in business. So then I right away went to yearly contracts, and I found out that when someone signs up for a year, less than 4% of people sign up for the year ever want to get a refund or ever want to stop the contract or ever want to do anything. So, and for people who sign up monthly, it's probably about 30%. So it's like we push for everybody up front. So even if I lose a bunch of money in front, like not that I lose, I'm giving them a major discount. I would still rather give them the discount, get them to pay up front, because those people also, they normally stay with me for 3 years. So people who sign up front stay for 3 years. People who do monthly, higher turnover on year one. And the reason why is because it's crazy. It's just different when you pay up all the money. It's like set it and forget it. The money's gone. It's not there. And I think it's a mental thing, and the commitment is there. And they're not feeling like it's something that's pulling from them month to month. And people who pay monthly are usually a little bit more on the broker side. So they pay this, they expect the value to be here on the cheapest package. And they're usually the people who are the bigger pains in the asses. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
The cheapest clients are usually the crappiest clients, right? So it's worth the discount. So we only charge upfront and quarterly only. That's it. We don't do monthly actually. So the only time we do monthly is if we're doing somebody like a huge solid, but it's not even part of our packages.
Wow, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
And then who taught you that? Was that course that you went on how to develop those systems?
No, definitely not. That's trial and error. No, that's trial and error. Because the Billie Jean course, this is again where I talked about you need to sometimes take off the shelf what you need and leave on the shelf what you don't need.
Yeah.
Billie Jean was an ads agency. We were not an ads agency. So I knew not everything was going to correlate with one another, right? So I needed to take off all the things that fit our model. Or I think people just need to understand when you take a course of any sort, or even if you're watching a video online, they're not going to give you all the secrets because not everything's going to fit what you're doing. It's like being in the gym, like my diet, everything I eat may not be right for you. There's certain items you just aren't going to make sense, or you just don't like certain things, so people need to understand, like, all right, how do I take that information and make it work for what I'm doing? How do I make it better? Right. And I think that's what people constantly need to be able to think is like, how did I take what I just learned and make it better or fit my scenario right now? And most people aren't thinking like that. So I took everything I learned in that Billie Jean course and said, all right, he's running an ad agency. I'm not an ad agency. In fact, we didn't really have many ads people in the beginning. So we were always content forward agency. And then later on, we were like, okay, cool. Now we can add ads as an extra. And even till today, when we sign up a client, it's content focused, ads on the back end. So it's like, hey, if you want to sign up with us, sometimes we'll even run their ads for free. We'll just like sign this package. We won't charge you anything for running ads. It's just a part of the package, right? Yeah. Because of what I've always been focused in on is the Gary Vee model of and still what he talks about is you build a big enough brand and you're putting out enough content. Running ads is chasing the carrot, because if people don't have a good enough brand, they'll always have to pay for leads because nobody knows who the hell you are. But if you build a big enough brand, the leads come in, you won't have to spend as much money on paid media because people already know who you are. A perfect example is, again, like you look at like a Ryan Pineda, he's spending money on paid media, but people know how much business is he getting because people know who he is already. Right?
Insane.
Or people see the ad now and they're like, oh shit, Ryan's selling something. I'm in because I've seen all his videos already. So they need to be coupled together. And that's why everything that we sell is packaged together. We don't do any one-offs in my agency personally. If someone wants to do one thing only, we don't sell it that way, just because we don't want to set up the client. To me, what I feel like I'm going to set them up to lose because they need so many other things that go with that. So it's like, oh, I only want to do paid media, not my company, to go work with somebody else who's going to take their money, because you're going to always have to do paid media. Because also if I help to build this guy an ad, I literally just had this conversation yesterday. People go look you up online, right? You get the lead, right? You call me, you got to tell me. Now I look you up online. You're irrelevant online. I already don't trust you, and maybe I can hear you out on your pitch, but I'm probably going to look up 5 other people right after you and probably go with somebody who's more relevant online and more trusted on the internet than you. So it isn't guaranteed business either. So the credibility needs to be there in alignment, right? So it's just like everything's going to come down to how credible are you on the internet, and people lose so much business because of that. So no matter what, you always have to have the content, no matter what, whether it's putting out podcasts, putting that out, you just need to be relevant online. And yeah, if you can figure out what works for you, now you start to go viral and build an audience, then then it's game over at that point in time. So that's where, even for myself, I had a huge surge. Then I kind of stopped for a little bit because I started focusing on my other businesses last year. And now I'm tripling down again on content, because I'm like, wow, if I didn't stop, I'd probably be at 1 million followers right now, So, yeah. So it's just like anything else. Like every time you stop, you're like, fuck. So it's just like, all right, I need to, now that I have teams in place, it's like my next 24 months, I have one scenario, and that's content. So my plan is, if I want to get out 3 to 5 pieces of content on all platforms every single day and just triple down on everything. And that's my main focus now for, from now until 24 months, 3 to 5 pieces of content every day.
Talk to me about that irresistible offer. What are you offering? Because a lot of these business operators are not going to, how do you walk through the content? It's just not what I'm looking for conversation. How do you make that irresistible offer?
Yeah. So I think it's most of the people you're sitting with don't know what they don't know. Right. So our entire presentation, as you would have it, like when we present, it's a little different also, I think, from what most people present. Like most people, if they're sitting on a sales call, and I don't know how you guys present to people, they usually sit down and they go through some slideshow. The guy fucking tunes out. He's like, another slideshow. I'm bored. I don't care what this guy's saying. And what we do is we do everything in real time. We actually use something called Workona. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically what Workona is you can like if you look at my computer, I have like 1,000 tabs open, right? So that's like one of my Workonas is what I'm working on. Then I go to, let's say I was pitching now a real estate client. I can go to my real estate Workona and all the tabs open now that I want to pitch this guy. So really when I'm doing my share screen, I'm showing them real time rather than slides, because things are being updated all the time. So if I'm showing them content, right, discovery call, hey, What are you looking to do? What have you done in the past? I'm hearing them out. And then no matter what, it always comes down to what are you doing to have leads call you instead of you calling leads? Silence, right? I'm spending money on Zillow. I'm spending money. All right, cool. That's something you want to do forever. Do you want to pay ads forever to get leads? No, of course not. So great. What are you doing about that? Nothing. So, we position the call to make them realize that what they're doing right now is not going to work long term. They're always going to be chasing the carrot. So a lot of it's just asking the right questions to get them to be like, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't want to fucking do that. And it's like, cool. So that's why we're on this call. So let me show you what we do for our clients so they don't need to do that anymore. Right. And then we walk them through how we've created content and the content machine that we've created. And then once we start to show them clients in their space, like, hey, look at this guy. He's a real estate agent. We helped him get 3 million views on that last post. Hey, look at this guy. And we start to show them how they do that. Well, we're creating viral type content. And then I'm not on as many sales calls, obviously, as my sales guy, but then they're showing them my stuff and they're showing them other people's stuff that are related. And it's like, hey, no matter what industry we're in, the machine is the same, right? You have to become an expert in your space, talking about what you talk about. So that way, when people see what you're doing online, they're going to turn to clients, but we're not selling people. And if you're in the service-based industry, it's impossible to build a massive company without you being the brand anymore. That the days of someone else being the face are over. So you need to be the face or get out of business, right? You're forever going to be chasing the carrot. You're going to have a ceiling no matter what if you're not the face. So it's understanding, be the face, be proud of it, get over it. And I think getting in front of the camera is it's a muscle. It's putting in the reps. You're going to suck and you're going to suck again. You're going to put on this fake version of yourself and you start to become more normalized. And I always tell people, once you get to the point where you get in front of the camera, you just don't give a shit anymore. You're going to start getting some real views because you're not trying to be somebody that you're really not, right? You're trying to be this persona that you want people to think you are. And once you don't give a shit, that's it. That's when you start hitting it. It's like, it's funny. When I'm putting out my content, I always got sunglasses on. And it's funny. I love like in TikTok, everybody's a troll on TikTok. Everybody's talking shit, and so it's like just don't care. Like it doesn't matter. Like even for my brother's he's one of my videographers. And he's like, oh, we should go here. We should do this. I'm like, yeah, dude, none of that shit matters. If the subject content is good enough, it really doesn't fucking matter where you're at. What you're doing. Like don't get me wrong. We're shooting a longer form video. It's cool. Go in front of stuff, but I'm really to the point now where it's like, hey, I can just sit in my office and pump out content. And if it's good enough, people are going to sit there and watch all of it. There's a time and a place for it, and I can just get more content done that way. So I think a lot of it's just being smart with what it is. But also, 90% of my content, I'm wearing a black shirt. I have like 20 black shirts, and I do that purposely because it doesn't matter. You can wear the same clothes, every single one. Nobody cares what you wear. Nobody cares what you look like. Nobody cares. It's all nonsense. And even if there is something for people to talk shit to you about, you're more likely to go viral because there's just more people commenting on your stuff.
Yes.
So I try and get across to my clients all the time, like, hey, there's a typo in there. So what? The video's hit it. What does it matter that there's a typo in there? Also, you have 30, 60, 90 seconds to create this video. You can't put all the context of the entire subject. Stuff's going to be left out. So it's going to leave room to troll you on the stuff you didn't say because you can't say everything in every video, and you just got to let it be what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? So it's just understanding. I think once people get to the point where they're okay with like all views are good views, right? No matter how you want to look at it, all comments are good comments. Then it's a win. And also getting over, I think most people, why they don't get over putting out content is because they get so caught up with their Instagram, their 1,000 Instagram followers that they have on there, and they're putting out content for them rather than putting out content for the people that don't know them yet. And that's where they lose, so it's understanding. Grant Cardone said this best. It was actually Brad Lee said this about Grant Cardone. He said, I started seeing Grant Cardone stuff in 2015 popping up so keep putting out content, I'm going to stop fucking following you, bro. I'm seeing your content left. And Grant Cardone was like, stop following me because you ain't buying nothing from me, bro. I don't give a shit if you stop following me. And people need to lose that because it's like you're putting out the content for the people that don't know you yet, not the people that know you. The people that know you aren't buying anything from you unless they would have bought it already. So they're putting out content for the wrong audience. And I think once people get over that, and that's why I recommend to a lot of people, hey, you don't want to put out this type of content? Start a new platform, start a new social media account then. Take that one away. That one's for your friends and family. Put it on private. Let's start a new account. And I don't give a shit anybody follows. We're not following any of your old people. We're going to build a new audience and put out all content that we think is going to hit. And that's it. And it's like whatever they need to do to get out of the mental box that they're in because they're so worried about what people are going to think about them. It's the biggest obstacle why most people don't put out the content that they need to put out. They're too worried about all the people that aren't buying anything from them.
Absolutely right. I couldn't agree more with that. And it's just that mindset of not knowing what you don't know that puts them at spot like The reason why I was asking you this is because it's interesting that you have those conversations and you find the valuable thing and you are
Mhm.
able to explain that. Of course, you have all the experience. It just didn't come as natural to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah, 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 yeah. But
Yeah.
in
No, again, what are you saying?
in regards to media agency, amazing, dude. Like that is incredible because I feel like acquisitions with a good marketing strategy are going to take you to a next level. I think that those are the two biggest industries. Not even real estate could acquire what acquisitions of businesses and a good marketing strategy could get you to
Yeah.
the next level. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I think no matter what business, marketing is the most important thing because no matter what business you open, start, run one day, you're gonna need to add marketing to it. Like every
Mm,
business is marketing and sales, like no matter how big it gets, right? It's all about how many eyeballs I can get in my business and how well I can convert that business. And then obviously you have the farm, right? That's hunters, right? You got to have the farmers, right, who are delivering the service and keeping everybody happy and getting quality results. So you get the word of mouth behind that. But in the very beginning, you need business, you cash flow, right? That's the number one rule in business. I heard my mentor say this all the time: stay in business one more day. Just stay in business one more day. That's what he would always tell me all the time. And as crazy as that sounds, is like, yo, dude, just stay in business one more day. Because if you can stay in business just one more day, you'll figure it out. That's the whole thing. You'll just figure it out. So don't worry about how bad you are right now. Just stay in business one more day. And it's a crazy way to think about it. Obviously, you don't want to live like that because that means you're like always almost going out of business. But it just means that you're making all the moves to just keep moving in the right direction. And as long as you're in business, you got a shot to win. No business goes out of business overnight. It happens slowly and moving at a snail pace. You have plenty of time to move your big ship, right, to avoid the iceberg. It's just that's when people get complacent and they just aren't trying to evolve with what's happening right now. So I think the biggest thing is when you know like you built an agency, you learn from what you did in the past, right? And it's just like, how do you keep getting better? It's like, all right, cool. Like me reaching out to Gary and all them. All right, cool. I get synced up with someone who's better than me, knows more, and I'm always asking like, how do I do more? But then I'm always going to run into the issue: is your agency's not like my agency, so how do I take that information? And because right, Gary's at a different level because all the leads are coming to him. So when we're talking about outbound, he never had to do outbound, right? Or at least not for a very long time,
no,
right? So how do I take that and then still pivot? And it always comes down to the same thing. It's what most people want to avoid. Even myself at one point, it's like, I'm just not putting out enough content. I'm just not putting out enough content. So I think most people do everything in their power to avoid the hard things that they know they need to do. And anything that's hard in life is worth doing. And it's the reason why most other people don't do it. And I think putting out content on a consistent basis and really themselves becoming the content machine and making their job to put out content, on like taking time just one day a week or one day every 2 weeks or one day a month to shoot all the content and make sure it gets done. It's not really that hard in the grand scheme of things. Just like it's not that hard for you to jump on a 1 hour podcast once a week, right? So it's
yep,
just making the time to do it and being consistent with it. The problem is when you don't see the results for the first 2, 3, 4 months, 2, 3, 4, 5 years,
and you
people
quit.
stop. You quit because they don't see the value in it. So it's understanding that, hey, when I restarted my Instagram last December, I think, like that. I started my Instagram, and for the first 6 months, I only had 600 followers, and I had everybody in the agency world laughing at me because here I'm growing my own account and at 600 followers, right? So then when my first video hit, right, it got a couple million views, and then I started to grow really fast. Then I was like, boom, but I had to stay consistent. I was posting 3 times a day, for 6 months, so it's just like anything else. Like there's going to be a wall that everybody breaks through no matter
Yeah.
what they're doing. You just don't know how long it's going to be. And you're going to drive yourself crazy and you're going to question yourself and you're going to question, are you good enough? Because I was doing it. I was like, what's going wrong? I'm posting so much. I got to do this and that, but because I learned so much because of it, because then I realized once stuff started hitting, I realized all the things I was doing wrong instantly. I was like, okay, cool. But now I can teach it better for my people. So I did that 100% to show my clients you can start a new Instagram profile and grow if you did it the right way. So sometimes people need to put themselves in the uncomfortable position to do it themselves, because the one thing I always tell people if I'm meeting with a client I am selling, I'm like, dude, I'm a CEO who isn't teaching my theory. Like I'm doing what I'm telling you to do. Like I'm putting out just as much content as I'm telling you to put out. So it's not that, are you busier than I am? I don't think so. I run a business also. Like, are we that busy? We've got the same 24 hours in a day. So
Right.
it's just all based on value. So I think if people can I think manage their time better of importance, and I know what it is, they just don't see the value in it because people see value, so they take the time to do it. So just understand if they can be educated on the value of it and be pointed in the right direction, of course they're going to do it. Because in hindsight, it's 2020, right? It's like should have been doing this 2 years ago, dude. Right. So it's just understanding what it is. So just like I'm sure once your podcast becomes the number one download podcast in the world, you're going to have hindsight of like, why didn't I start doing X 5 years ago? Right.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's just putting in more reps to figure out what you're doing wrong in the meantime, but yeah, I don't even remember the question you asked me, man.
No,
I hope I answered it.
Dude, I think this is incredibly helpful. Like not only from a business perspective, I think a lot of people that have agencies could relate a lot more to your content, but just like the fact that content is going to take over the way that we now think about marketing, because it's not longer the ads, it's about attention. It has nothing to do with a video. It has to do with the attention that you're generating with that. And knowing that on the grand scheme of things, I think people like you or Gary or anybody that is actually doing it and doing it right and successfully are able to acquire that the other people, like I'll give you an example, like me or the people that just started, the people that are not as skillful in that are not being able to acquire attention. It ultimately comes down to attention.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say, like, you already know, like we're doing this podcast together, right? And let's say I put out some of these podcast clips. I already know that anything podcast related is going to be a more niche audience. So it's not going to go viral. It's going to get less views, but it'll build more of that community around people who want to learn that one subject. So it's just like, okay, cool. I can sprinkle in podcast content, right? And I'm doing a bunch. I told you this next 2 months, I'm going to sprinkle a lot of that in to deliver information that is, I think, hopefully value to my audience also, talking about digital, but also it's understanding, all right, cool, now that I'm delivering that, what else can I personally do? Because sometimes when you're on a podcast, and this is a perfect example, like when I would do podcasts, like think about me, like I'm a guest, I come on, I'm talking about all this stuff I want to talk about, right? And you're helping guide the conversation and adding your 2 cents, but it's also like, all right, this guy Ace hopefully builds value when I post this content up, but then also how do I build value also on the podcast from what I'm putting on? And one thing I like, if you notice what Gary Vee does on podcasts is like a lot of times he'll jump on people's podcasts, and even if it's his own podcast, he just takes whatever's happening and he just spins it in whatever direction he wants to go to, because he's like, I'm going to put out the content I want to put out, whether I'm on your podcast or whether you're on mine. I don't know if you ever noticed that before. He just like overtalks people, and it's because he's very intentional with the content he wants to get from that podcast, right? And now that takes another skill, and he has a lot to say about a lot of things, so it's a little different, but there's a lot to learn about how he does stuff. And I'm like, it's really smart, because no matter who he's doing a podcast with, he's going to make sure, hey, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to get good content because this is the one thing all I want to talk about, and he dominates it from that one subject. I'm very happy with this podcast. This is great. I'm going to be putting out my agency course soon and all that stuff, so this will create a lot of good pieces of content for that, which will be great. And at the same time, hopefully this gave some value to you because you have your own agency and you can learn some stuff and maybe, implement some of the stuff you're doing in your own agency. But I mean, all in all, to sum things up, man, I would say most people, if they're running a smaller agency, I would say if you're in a position where you could, have a second job or live at home with mom and dad or whatever your position is, your bills aren't high, I would take all the money you're making and just 100% putting into making the 2 or 3 best hires you can make to free up your time. Mainly if you're 10 or less people, sales is the most important thing. So the main focus would be, how do I grow my sales engine bigger? So it would be right now TikTok's really well. So maybe I would put, $3,000 a month, $100 a day into TikTok ads, getting some general ads, filming yourself, getting some general ad campaigns. And then I would get maybe 2 to 3 outbound SDRs that are just pounding the phones the whole time. Any inbound leads that came in, I'd be calling those leads myself, because I don't want to waste them on people that I can't trust booking them. And then I would have those guys booking appointments, filling up my calendar, because I'm the best salesperson that there is, because I'm the CEO of the company and I'm closing those deals. And then I'm choosing one of those 3 or 4 people who can be the next BDR, business development rep, who could be a closer next to me, who I can train to go through and give my spiel and start to have them join my discovery call and my closing calls, train that person, then hopefully train that person, get them trained up, make enough money, hire another 2 or 3 SDRs. Now there's 2 people closing deals, and then repeat that process again and again. That's pretty much what I did with my company. I was the first. I had this guy Brian come over, and now he's the sales manager. I had someone else come over, and then we slowly start building that out. And then someone graduates from SDR to BDR. Once they prove themselves, then you work out a comp plan that's really well. You don't pay them a lot. You pay them 25, 30 grand, because the commission's where they make their money. Now, the other side of it is you have a lot of people that reach out on DMs all the time that are appointment setters and they want to book times. And there's a lot of people who would work for free or fully commissioned. You got to pay more. I'd rather hire somebody for a lower salary, keep more of that money for myself. And that way I can put it back into the company. So you just got to find what works for you. But depending on what you're making, you know, if I had someone make $10,000 a month with their agency and they're a solo person, I would put $3,000 into ads, TikTok ads right now. And I'd put, you know, what is it, like $600 a week, someone making like 30K, something like that. So is that 6, 12, 18, 2,400? So you got to think another $4,800 if you hire 2 SDRs. There you go, right there. You have 2 SDRs, $4,800, $3,000 in TikTok ads. You got like seven, 8 grand right there. And I keep that extra 2 grand for what other expenses you have. And that's it. That's your team right there. So there you go. 8K. You could hire 2 SDRs, run $3,000 in TikTok ads. You have new business coming in, and then obviously you're gonna need someone to deliver whatever product that you're selling, and then you start building from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's if I was in that position, that's probably what I would do, because that's how I built it out. And I would start looking at the business credit right away and start to think, how else can I develop you know, capital, right? If your business is around for a little bit, and I'd look into getting some business credit cards. If you have decent credit, I'd look into getting a credit line by going to your local bank and showing them the revenue you have. If you say, hey, I'm making $10,000 a month, and you could show that and put that into the bank, you can get a $15,000, $20,000 credit line right off the gate right there. And that'll help you with payroll. That'll help you with the credit line is run just like a credit card. So I would do that as well. And then I would start establishing some business credit, and working with the bank, which then will allow you to get bigger credit cards, bigger cap lines. You can do a lot more with it. So you know, I think that's probably where most agencies are right now. They're probably in the $10,000 to $30,000 range, and they can't get over the hump. And it's just because they don't know enough about business credit. They don't know where to get the credit cards. There's plenty of stuff on business credit online now. You can YouTube it. There's millions of videos on there where you can learn that stuff. And they got to start hiring right away. They got to say, hey, start hiring. Start taking all your money, put hiring. You don't put any extra money. Start eating ramen noodles and work like you're not making any money. To start to build out a real team so you can start to deliver a real product. That's the number one reason why I think 99% of agencies aren't going to be around probably in the next couple of years. There'll be a lot of people that join and leave, and they never get off the hump because they're living off that money rather than building a team out. You know, and that's the only way you're going to be able to walk away from it. Also, it's the only way you're going to build a machine. You have to find somebody who's just as smart, if not smarter than you, to do what you're doing, but you're the one who has to develop the organization at first. So just like any other business, I don't think doing that's probably any that model is the same for any business, because you need to get leads in business no matter what. So if you have a team, you can build any business you want. right.
Yeah.
So it's just understanding that model works. It works really well.
That was literally a blueprint on how to do it in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is a course that you provide to people, for any agency owner that it's watching this video.
It'll probably be out in the next 2 weeks, but it's going to have all that information in there. It's going to talk about business credit. It's going to talk about what business credits cards to apply for, how to get a credit line. It's going to give you the basics to getting your company up and running, no matter what type of agency you run. And then I'm going to give you all the details to how to create a content machine agency like I do, how to put the people in place, what everybody does, the systems, everything. You're going to see the whole blueprint of the whole internal workings of my entire company. So someone can either replicate it or make it better or create their own version of it. But we're going to have all that. We're going to have PDF files. We're going to have our discovery. You're going to have my discovery deck in there. The questions we ask when we're on a sales call, the closing questions we ask when we're on a closing call. You're even going to get our sales decks. So you can literally just take our deck and just put your shit on it. So we're going to make it pretty dummy proof. Put your logo on it. It's yours now. We're going to have our sales scripts in there. We're going to have everything. And I'm even putting out I shot it today. I built a bunch of different versions of TikTok ads. So how do you build a TikTok ad? Boom. You want to sell the lawyers? Boom. Here's how I do it. You want to sell the doctors? Boom. Here's how you do it. You just fucking play the video. You can replicate the same ad and create it. So in 2 weeks, that's coming out. So yeah, that'll be out around the corner.
That's amazing, dude. I think that's going to provide a lot of value to a lot of people, even me, myself. Like, I think that's phenomenal, dude. Besides that, what's the best way to reach out to your community, reach out to your team if they have any questions?
Yeah, so I would say, jump on right now. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. You can join my community if you go to my Beacon, my Beacon Stack page. You can fill out for my newsletter. You can leave your email, phone number, name, and I have my newsletter kicking off next week. And my newsletter is going to be all business all the time, which is kind of like my catchphrase, right? And that's going to be talking about everything from buying businesses, buying real estate, how to buy your first commercial real estate deal, private equity deals, how to build up an evaluation if you have a current agency or company so you can sell it one day. Really just everything I'm doing and learning right now, I'm going to be putting out. And I'm gonna have guests on there. I'm gonna have other people, but I'm the one writing everything. I'm not hiring a copywriter. I'm writing everything. It's my information, my words, my everything. So I want it to be as linked to my community as possible, and I want to be able to pivot. So that's gonna come out every single Wednesday. So leave your information. I'm gonna be putting a lot of free stuff in there as well. That'll be linked up with free videos of me teaching stuff, how I look for businesses, how I acquire businesses, how I come up with money, how I come up with raising capital. How I come up with networking events, how I link up with who I link up with, everything that I do, I'm gonna put in there, because I think it'll allow people to see most of like, hey, this guy ain't that special, dude. He's just like all he's doing is this, because it's it's always the same. It's like Steve Jobs said it best, right? The world was created and all the rules in the world are made by people not much smarter than you, and he realizes like, all this dude did was read the book before I read it. All this dude did was attend this class before I attended it, and that's it. So I'm going to put as much information as I can out there, and that's it. It's going to be easy to read, no big words. Everything's going to be at a kindergarten level, nothing complex. I think the easier it is to pick up, read, digest, and execute, the better it is for everybody.
The better. Dude, Ace, thank you. So this was so valuable, at least to me and to the people that are going to listen to this, that, like you said, this is going to be a specific niche, but really valuable. Appreciate a lot your time and everything that you're putting out. I think it's amazing, dude. Nothing but good vibes, and appreciate your time.
Dude, thanks for having me on. I look forward to meeting again, man, and kick butt, dude. Maybe I guess we'll be on. Maybe we'll relink up in a year or so, right?
For sure. If you made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe if you find this valuable, and I'll see you guys on the next one.